Okay, Lawrence, we're going to go ahead and get started with getting your 6306 movement serviced. So I went ahead and took your crown out. We're going to decase your movement here. Looks like a pretty good place to start. It's a good starting point. Okay. Alright, not a bad looking SilverWave. Such interesting dials on these. Alright, let's go ahead and get your hands off. Okay. A little extra protection here. Okay. Alright, so there's the good stuff. All the Kanji bits there. Kanji Date wheel. Nice, very nice example here. So this is a good place to start for sure. So let's go ahead and get everything torn down. Very clean movement here. This is just a really nice place to start, I have to say. These SilverWaves were really good movements. 6306 is such a cool variant on the 6309 family. More jewels, hacking. It's a great place to work. These movements are just so neat. Looks like this one has either been serviced at some point or has some very old lubrication in it. Let's go ahead and take your mainspring down. Make sure there's nothing there to worry about. Yeah, had some fire in it. Look at these really cool die fixes here. It's one of my favorite parts. These settings are really great to see. All right, add a little bit of extra work, but they're not bad. Once you figure out how to actually get the setting out, it's not a challenge. But it takes a little extra care. And then you have to pre-lubricate it before it goes back together, because you want to put the jewel back in place, the jewel cap. Excuse me for just a second. I'm going to have to do this under a bit more magnification. Okay. All right, that's one. And now let's put it back in place. And then another. Okay, good. Righty. So not only extra jewels, but die affixed jewels. Ah, sorry. All right. Okay, let me get that setting back into place. You got a little spring keeper here that holds everybody in. It's good to get that fixed back into place before you go into the cleaner, so it doesn't have any issues and pop out. So there it is. Okay, good. Go ahead and get your plate off. Get your bridge taken off here. And there we go. Ooh, that's a little dirty. I'll do a little cleaning on that before it goes in the cleaner. So that's your S2 lubricant. It's come out of your barrel, which is okay. It's no big deal, except that over time that can turn into a bit of a polishing compound, or worse said than that, probably an abrasive. There's this really cool hacking lever. I love that. So it's in a sense elegant. I think it's so neat looking. It doesn't want to seem to come off. There we go. Put you in there. Alright, let's take your pallet fork. So that lubricant can become a compound for abrasion on your lower mainspring arbor, which is why we put a jewel in here. You can see that that compound has come out and done some work. So we'll take care of that. All right. Well, that's your train side disassembled. Let's go ahead and move to the calendar side. Okay, first things first, we got to take off your day and date. So this should pop off. Come on. There we go. And there's your C-ring. Nice. Okay, the all-important Kanji Date wheel comes off. All right, so here's your calendar and other components. Okay. Right. Your minute wheel. Okay. Let's remove your date advancing finger wheel. Oh, your intermediate wheel. Lower die shock. quick date components. Okay, last few pieces here. Let's take off your cannon pinion. Here we go. And that removes your center wheel. Alright, so what we have left is simply the last few pieces of your keyless works. One screw, two stamped pieces, very simple design. Right, and there we have it. Winding pinion is out. All right, that's it. We are ready to jewel this lower plate and jewel your upper plate, and then we're off to the wash. Okay, we've run into a bit of a snag. You have a cracked bezel or crystal retaining bezel. This is, I mean, my my 6309 had this as well. Unfortunately, this is a problem for keeping your crystal in place. The only real solution is to get a new one. It's, yeah, unfortunate. I'm not sure the availability. I'll have to check with some sources, but that's going to have to be fixed. I don't really have a way other than replacement to fix it. So that's unfortunate. First thing I saw when I took your bezel off was that lovely little crack right there. Now, it has not been bad for your watch. I don't see any water ingress anywhere, but that's particularly bad. We have to fix by replacing, unfortunately. All right. Sorry for the news. Okay, Lawrence, we're going to get to constructing your 6306 movement. Get your center wheel in place. There we go. Okay. You can see here's your lower mainspring arbor port jewel. And now we put your third wheel. I always like to check to make sure there's no fuzz or anything out of the norm sitting on your wheels. That is just a little bit of insurance, just to be 100% sure we're clean. Okay. It's always good to double check. There's your escape wheel and your fourth wheel. Put Just a tiny drop. Lubrication. That's good. Okay. One thing we cannot forget is your click. This is held in place by the bridge instead of being held down by a screw, which is generally the other way they're done on the various other 6000 series movements. Okay, here's your upper mainspring arbor port jewel. We've gone ahead and lubricated your die fix settings. We'll drop on here. Looks good. It's a very nice free running train. So once we get these screws in, we will flip your movement over and lubricate. Get your click ratchet wheel on here. Okay, drop the lubricant here. Give it a little flip over. And we install a few small pieces here. Your cannon pinion goes on. That needs lubrication. And then put that in place. Nice tight snap. Okay, let's lubricate your third wheel jewel and your escape wheel. That's good. Alright, now we're going to install your lower die shock for your bounce. This is all pre-lubricated. Spring that holds it in place goes here. Alright, this is a little tricky, so I do this over to the side a little bit. Make sure it doesn't go springing off to the other part of the universe. Which they are loath to do sometimes. Good. All right, so that's your train built out. Next up, we have to lubricate your pallet fork jewels. Okay, let's go ahead and get your pallet fork installed. Go real gentle here and then check for, yep, function. That's always good. All right. Right now, check your balance. Looks good. And we go ahead and see if we can get some action here, some life into your movement. And there we go. We do have life. Now it's slow for right now, but as soon as we get a screw in and get your jewel in place, we'll straighten everything right up. And we can hope for the best. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put your die shock in place. Again, a little tricky, so I have to do it here under some higher magnification. Okay, there we are. All right, so now we can check and see how we did. All right, Lawrence, we are doing pretty good. Starting off in the really clean signal here with good numbers. I'm gonna watch this for a little bit and see how it runs. But you know, as the lubrication moves around, it's going to vary a little bit. I think we're on the right track. Yeah. So in the 200s to begin with is always where I want to see things. It's going to be a little bit of adjustment, but otherwise we're doing okay. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've basically gotten to where we need to be in order to progress on the movement. It's looking really good. 230s, 240s. Yeah, this is a very clean signal and exactly what we'd like to see. So I think I'm going to let this run just a little bit more and we're going to go ahead and progress. Okay, Lawrence, well, your movement is running exceptionally well, so I think it's time to go ahead and put your calendar side together. Okay, we'll start with a little lubrication here. Your pivots. Areas need to be well lubricated and ready to start going back together. Okay. Now, lubricate your winding pinion, setting pinion. Not much winding with these automatics from this era, but that's okay. Right, now I'm gonna use your old SilverWave stem here for a moment. Okay. All right, so let's build out your other components here. All right, looks good. All right, excellent. Now we need to build out your calendar. Start with your correcting spring. And let's get your intermediate wheel in place. Now, your ring in place. Looks good. Okay, the last plate and screw. All right. That looks good. Should be able to get the day to advance. Now for the date wheel. Let's go ahead and get this in place. Excellent. Put your C-clip. And there we go. Date and your day. Awesome. likes that. Works great. Cool. Okay. We are good to go. You're going to put your dial and your hands on this movement, and we'll be set to proceed. Okay, let's go ahead and get your watch totally cased here. So let's put your crown in. Let's flip you over here. Put your movement retaining ring in place. Case back gasket. Back on. We don't have to go too tight, just tight enough. Alright, now we can align everything the way it's supposed to be. So first thing to go in is your insert, which is in very nice shape. It's a very good one. So we got a notch here that goes in place. And that should sit right down against your dial. That looks really good. It was misaligned from whomever opened the watch the last time. But we're aligned now and it looks good. Okay, here's your crystal gasket. Crystal. Let's go ahead and get that cleaned one last time. All right. Now we press this straight in. Good. Edges look good. Everything looks flat. There we go. Okay. Now, at this point, I would install your crystal retaining ring, but unfortunately, yours is broken, so we're going to have to come back and reinstall your new one when it gets here. So, this is your, of course, your rotating bezel, and I'm just going to go ahead and install it just to hold everything together. So I'll just push that home, and it will go back together. We can take this back off once we're done. Once we get the new one. But here it is, your upgraded 6306, 6309, 7040 with what is now 2 new jewels. Actually, you have 4 new jewels in this movement. The 2 that came with the 6306 and the 2 that I installed to get your movement 100%. But I think we've just got such a fantastic watch here. We're going to go back in. Of course, we're going to pop your bezel back off and put your crystal retaining ring on. But let's just go through function. We'll just treat this as like we're done. So hacking works. You've got your Kanji Day. Your hands are perfectly aligned. You should now go over noon, and then we should click over midnight in a moment. This is the stealthiest of the upgrades. So there we go. Clicked over midnight and clicked over the day. Let's go back to 6. Okay, let's set your hands. Set your day and date. So there's your day setting, date setting. Let's get to a fun kanji character. This one's my favorite. Okay, so everything looks really good. I'm very excited about these sorts of projects, of getting 6309s upgraded to 6306 status, if you will. One thing I do want to check with you is you have now a choice. You can keep this very stealth by essentially putting your 6309 winding assembly into the watch. We haven't put your winding works in. So 6309A versus what was on your 6306, which has the designation for the 6306. So I can go either way. It doesn't matter at all to me. I think either is appropriate. So I'm going to ask you in an email what you want to do, and then you can tell me. So you can either go full stealth mode and keep this as a 6309 winding, or you can go to your somewhat more, I don't know, original to the movement 6306 winding. All right, so at this point, we're at a pause, but I want to say this is really just such a fun watch to see this come out this way. It's a really good example overall. Of course, I didn't polish anything. There's nothing other than some cleanup. But overall, everything works as it should. You've got good clicks in your bezel. It's nice and tight. So that works as it should. And your setting is just right. It's really a solid watch. And it's running amazingly well. So I'm excited. I hope you are too. Everything is completely rebuilt and ready to go. As soon as we get that last part, we'll be back to you. All right. Thanks, Lawrence. Okay, Lawrence. Well, I just wanted to go through one last review of things. Your bezel for your crystal finally came, and so I've installed that and put your rotating bezel back on. So it's all ready to go. Everything's clicking very nicely. Looks wonderful. I just wanted to go through your return components here. So this is your 6309 movement. So that's going to come back to you intact. We basically just did a swap out. So that one is still good. Here's your offending ring, your bezel. That will come back. This is your old crystal that I have put into your bag here. That is your upper mainspring arbor port bushing. And then we've got a few seals here, case back seal and a bezel seal. And in here somewhere is there's your crown seal. So that's been replaced, this has been replaced, this has been replaced, everybody's new. And so now you are ready to go with your 6306 hacking Kanji 6309. Really, what a great combination. All right, well, enjoy, Lawrence. I will send you this video, and thanks again.